Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2! It's a challenge, Kakarot!
Blast 1s, aka Support Blasts. Support Blasts exhibit a variety of effects and vary with dependence to character choice. Much like Super Blasts, each character is given 2 Support Blasts, which are to be executed by holding L2 and pressing circle for base Support Blast execution, or holding L2 and up while pressing circle for secondary Support Blast execution. The effects of such commands may have a direct effect on the opponent, such as Vice Shout, while others are simply used to present the player's character with a temporary alteration regarding their levels of attributes. As there are well over 100 characters of the game, one would do well to understand that each character may possess support blasts that vary in effect and may dictate the outcome of battle. These blasts are structured into the following categories. The first is the defensive teleportation effect. There are 3 instances that a support blast can be used as a defensive teleport. In the case of the afterimage support blast, once activated, the player's character will automatically teleport the opponent's following attack, be it a melee-based attack or super blast. In the case of the afterimage strike support blast, once activated, the player's character will automatically teleport the opponent's following 3 attacks, be it a melee-based attack or super blast. In the case of the wild sense support blast, once activated, the player's character will automatically teleport the opponent's following attack. In case of a melee-based attack, the defensive teleport will result with a counter strike, similar to that of the banishing attack. In the case of an energy-based super blast, the defensive teleport will reflect that of the afterimage. The next category would be the instantaneous transmission. The signature Goku technique that allows the player to disappear and reappear directly behind the opponent is the instantaneous transmission. This will temporarily cause the opponent's focus to de-lock. However, the player must be locked onto the opponent to perform this technique. Also, while this particular blast may be a signature Goku technique, there are other characters that can also use this technique. The next category relates to barriers. There are 2 types of barriers, the explosive wave and the nullifier. The explosive wave is exhibited by the player's character producing an energy-based field around his body, preventing the opponent from inflicting physical damage through melee-based attacks. However, this barrier is susceptible to energy-based super blasts. The nullifier is exhibited in the same fashion, but in addition to its invulnerability to melee attacks, the nullifier is also immune to energy-based super blasts. In either case, if the opponent were to attempt a melee-based assault, the barrier, or nullifier, will inflict damage and force them away to the ground. The next category is the brick wall support blast. This type of support blast will result with the opponent's base melee holding no physical effect over the player. However, like attacking an opponent with armor, damage is still received, even if there is no physical effect. The next category relates to the paralyzer. This type of support blast is used as an offensive means of altering the state of the opponent. As the name suggests, once this attack makes contact with the opponent, it forces the opponent to enter a temporary state of paralysis, in which follow-up attacks are encouraged. Keep in mind, however, that while in this state of paralysis, a character still possesses the ability to teleport defensively. The next category is the solar flare. In accordance to the show, the solar flare will induce a temporary state of blindness to the opponent, in which the screen that displays the opponent's player's viewpoint will be whited out. This allows the game to continue without the opposing player's ability to see what's going on. The remaining support blast types, when performed, may exhibit a variety of effects that may be shared amongst others, while exhibiting other effects that are reflective of the support blast intention. For example, as any one of these type of support blasts may include more than one effect, we'll say Effect 1 and Effect 2. One character's support blast may have the same Effect 1 as another character's support blast, while only one of these characters' support blasts include Effect 2. These support blasts include key quantity effects, charge rates, attribute alterations, and health restoration or sacrifice. Attribute alteration typically relates to the character's melee power, key-based attack power, defense, speed, etc. A support blast can result with the character obtaining instant sparking mode, which may or may not increase his level of attribute or affect his rate of ki charge for a period of time, be it through increasing or decreasing such a rate. A support blast can result with the character obtaining full power, in which case all 5 ki gauges will be filled. This is not to be confused with sparking mode. Again, his level of attribute or ki charge rate may be affected. A support blast can result with the character obtaining only a few ki blasts, with which his level of attributes or ki charge rate may be affected. A support blast may allow a player to sacrifice 1 bar of life to obtain sparking mode, with which his level of attributes or ki charge rate may be affected. A support blast may allow a player to sacrifice all of his ki in order to force the opponent to de-lock his focus, allowing a break in focal adherence for possible circumstantial capitalization. A support blast can result with simply raising all of the character's attributes with the inclusion of a full ki meter, exhibited by the Kaioken. This support blast, though providing a full ki meter, will also slowly deplete the ki meter. And finally, a support blast may also increase or fully restore a character's health, which may or may not increase his level of attributes or affect his rate of ki charge. It is important to note that when attributes are increased, they will remain increased for a short period of time or until a specific technique is performed, such as a super blast. This will relate to the blast at hand. All of these support blasts are subjective to the character in use. Each of these support blasts will require a specific number of blast stocks, so it would be important to know how to obtain these blast stocks in order to perform a support blast to one's desire. A blast stock will build gradually over time, so if the player is able to work patience into his gameplay, there should be no issue. However, if a player wishes to build his blast stocks faster, it is important to know what actions will do so. As briefly mentioned earlier, Ki Blast Deflection will help build the player's blast stocks. However, it is also important to know that any time to defensive teleport will do the same. As you can see, the reward for defending properly will not only allow one to survive longer, but will also present opportunities for support blast activation. Recognize the importance of this list, for understanding blast stock requirement and support blast effects will also allow a player to decide which character is right for his particular fighting style. Though there's obviously an ongoing list relating to character aspect variation in Tenkaichi 2, varying support blasts also present default character values in a manner that is not typically presented in traditional fighters. It is to understand what both characters are bringing to the match in a mutual understanding of combat construct, but also with a requirement to understand each character's varying size, attributes, and individual combat-based technical additions exhibited through support blast activation. Now, thus far, we have discussed the natural combat supporting aspect of Tenkaichi characters, but like the Budokai series, there is also another aspect to the Tenkaichi series that alters combat strategy by providing even more options that may strengthen one's metagame. Of course, I am speaking of the customization system regarding the application of Z items. As many options are available during the natural flow of combat with characters possessing the default structure, Z item application requires the player to understand how combat is conducted and then transform one's tactical approach to reflect changes made by character customization. To list details of each custom Z item would be to drag this project beyond what I believe sufficient for natural depth comprehension. But as a brief example, consider the Abandonment Essence Z item. This item allows the player to execute offensive teleportation without the consumption of ki, thus eliminating the relative aspect of ki management during strafe teleportation battles. Some Z items may grant the character multiple uses of instilled techniques, while others may strengthen attributes at the cost of others. As customization strays from the default understanding of Tenkaichi Depth, one may discover that this opens doors to new understandings of new levels of combat-related depth, but I will leave this up to you as the viewer to discover on your own. Now, I believe we've covered a lot of the basics here, so I think now is a good time to branch off into some of the advanced aspects of Tenkaichi 2. Until next time, this is ZeroAnnihilated, and you are watching Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 Evolution.